What going on guys, Commander here, and today I'm going to be doing a little development update for Traitor 3. So, over the past few months since I released Traitor Prequel, I've been hard at work on the next installment of the Traitor series and CL450's journey. Now, it goes without saying this episode is going to take it to the next level from Traitor Prequel, which I was so happy with when I uploaded it, and with the power of Unreal Engine at my side, I have no doubt I'll be able to pull this off. If this episode ends up half of what I'm planning, it's going to be insane, and I'm so excited to continue production in it. So, for a little bit of context, Traitor 3 takes place roughly 1 month after Traitor 2, where the Empire defeats the Rebel Alliance on Hoth, and CL450 is ordered back to the Death Star's construction site by Lord Vader. In between Traitor 2 and 3, the 450th CL450's battalion are attacking various rebel settlements, strongholds and bases in search of intel on the Alliance's intentions. The reason I'm doing this update now is because I've finished for the most part the first stage of this episode's development, which is creating environments for Traitor 3 and adding characters to the worlds that I've created. In this video I'm going to show a few of them that I've created and explain a little about how they're going to work, as well as a few little other things which I've created recently and I've been really excited by how they've turned out, and I want to show you those as well. But first I want to show you, which you'll also see in the thumbnail, the new logo for Traitor and the Traitor series in general, as well as one I created specifically for Traitor 3, Light in a Doomed Existence. Now, as you can see, it looks a bit more professional and smarter than what I had before, and it's also created in 4K, which means I can scale it how I want without it being like disformed and pixelated in any way, like the previous logos were restricted to. It also means I can animate this logo a bit more freely now to how I like it. While I did like Traitor Prequel's logo, the title graphic, it wasn't very Photoshop friendly because it was so detailed around the edges because of the smoke, and I couldn't really put like a drop shadow behind it, or I couldn't like put it in certain areas of an image because it would look weird because of all the smoke and everything. Whereas with this one, it's got very sharp edges, which means it's very useful for Photoshop, but it also means I can create nice logo effects with it in After Effects. Now, before I start, I do want to make this clear, these images are very work in progress, and while the main part of the environments are complete, some of the things in the environment are subject to change. So, without further ado, the first image I want to show off is an ISD hangar bay. As you can see, it's pretty much what you would expect, with Imperial gunships, stormtroopers and pilots around the environment. Now, the main reason why I'm showing you this is because I want to sort of just explain that with the Reallusion Auto Rig software that's been released, it means that you can re-rig anything to work with Actor-Core or Mixamo. Now, on the face front, this might not sound like much. It may even sound silly since all the models in this image are already rigged with their own skeleton. However, the reason why this is significant is because having models work with Actor-Core means that any Mixamo or Actor-Core animation will work universally with anything rigged with Reallusion's Auto-Rig software. This in turn means that any idle animation, walking animation, or any background animation, I do not have to create myself like I had to with Traitor Prequel, because all of the animations in Actor-Core and Mixamo will automatically work. So that will mean that I will have a lot of spare time with mocap without having to record mocap for each individual background character, because I can just use Mixamo or Actor-Core. So, for example, in Traitor Prequel, if you look at the last, I think it's the second to last scene with CL450, a Stormtrooper, and Captain Rex in a Venator's hangar bay, all of the background animations with the Stormtroopers, like, you know, working on their gunships and what have you, that was all manually mocapped by me. However, with Mixamo and Actor-Core, I can just add a random talking animation or a random, like, you know, working animation. I don't have to mocap it. It's all within Mixamo, and that's what Auto-Rig does really, really well, and what makes life so much easier because I can use it. The second image is more of a close-up from the previous image, and it's showcasing CL450 and Fireteam Chimera, who are CL450's old squad members. This fire team will play a significant part in this episode of Traitor, as well as future episodes as well. I've already created a history for these characters and how they link to CL450, and when the time is right I'll reveal it. However, I have uploaded close-up renders on Instagram and ArtStation, which gives a small backstory to each of these new characters, as well as more than one render of each character that you can see on the screen now. Now on to the third image, which comes from earlier in the episode where CO450 and the 450th are fighting against a group of rebels that are holding a base of operations, and the Empire has been sent to deal with them. Since this episode takes place in the midst of Empire Strikes Back, where the rebels are on the run after the loss on Hoth, I wanted to show how the rebels are scavengers, using anything they can find to create any form of advantage that they can. So for example, you've got the broken crashed ship on the left that acts as some form of cover, and you also have a hijacked Imperial ATSD with custom colours showing that it's no longer in Imperial control but it's now in Rebel control. This next image shows the other side of this screenshot, where CO450 and his stormtroopers are holding out against the rebels who have them pinned down near a turbo laser, waiting reinforcements. Here you can see for the second time the new design for the 450th stormtroopers. Instead of having them as blank white stormtroopers as I was restricted to with the previous episode of Traitor, I can now give them custom markings with the power of Substance Painter. Another thing with this environment in general is at the moment it's set in a daylight environment, but I don't know if I'm going to make it a nighttime scene to give more of a creepy, desperate battle time look to it. The only problem with dark environments in Unreal is that when it comes to lighting, it's difficult to set it up so you can actually see what's going on, but it also keeps that creepy, gritty feel that I want for this level. However, let me know in the comment section down below if you think that having a darker theme would work better, or if you think keeping it as it is would actually be better instead. Now the final two images are on Darth Vader's Executor Super Star Destroyer's bridge. So, to be perfectly honest, there isn't really much going on here. The main thing I need to add is other officers around the bridge to make it look more active and alive, which is what I meant earlier when I said that these main parts of these environments are complete, but they're still subject to change, and this is one of those changes that I do need to make. Now, if you're paying attention, you'll notice that this is the same bridge environment that I used for the Venators in Traitor Prequel, because both these environments in the actual movies and in the Clone Wars are pretty much the same, which is a detail I didn't notice until developing Traitor. Now the second image of this environment is a close-up of Darth Vader. Now the reason why I'm showing you this is because he has been retextured in Substance Painter to look more unique for Traitor. Now it's not essential, and the original textures were fine, however they are 5 years old, and creating new up-to-date textures look much better, and it also means that when you see Vader in this episode, the textures on the model are ones that you will not see in any other fan film or game that uses Darth Vader, because this one is done separately and independently by me. That's the beauty of Substance Painter. It allows me to create custom textures for any model that I have, which makes them really interesting designs at times. If you look at the stormtroopers in this scene, they are also custom textured as well. Since the models are from Vader Immortal, a VR game, they look okay, but VR translated into Unreal Engine doesn't look great, so I did the textures from scratch myself in my own design. Now I also have two small animation clips I want to show off. This first one is a stormtrooper taking his helmet off and putting it back on again. Now on the face front, it might not sound like much, but animating constraints is what basically is taking place here, but by doing that it means picking something up and putting it down without animating the whole object point by point, which is actually more difficult than it sounds. And by me being able to do this, I'm able to have clips of CO450 taking his helmet off and putting it back on again, which as well as many of the other characters as well. And the dynamic of having that in as a function that I know that I can use will be critical in this episode of Traitor for adding more depth and personal dynamic to each of the characters that I have that function happen for. The second clip is of a stormtrooper grabbing another stormtrooper and slamming him to the ground. This clip is significant because again, like the first one, shows me adding constraints within Unreal Engine instead of doing it in Blender and trying to transport it to Unreal Engine. But it also shows me being able to throw a character around and activating the physics asset to a ragdoll so he rolls around after he's been let go of. This will prove crucial in Traitor 3, and now I've got the basics of the function correct, all that I need to do is now fine tuning, I know I can create what I want, and it really excites me that I'm able to do that. You know what, before we end this video I want to show you one more image which is basically a concept art, which does not affect any scene in Traitor, so do take that into account, and also bear in mind that this image is quite old as well. Now, this image is of CO450 holding what looks to be a hologram, but it's actually a shipboard AI like Cortana called Luna. However, this image, like I said, is quite old. It's from May 2022, and many changes have been made to her to make her look more like what she does now, which is why I'm showing you this image currently. Now, I am working on a little something to showcase what she does look like now, but it's taken a little longer than expected because Luna's head is actually using the MetaHuman engine and the MetaHuman like software and hardware, and altering it to make it look like an AI or a hologram. It's caused a lot of issues within Unreal because I have to go right in the depths of the programming section of textures within MetaHumans. It's actually more complicated than I actually expected. I've got the basics correct, but fine-tuning it is taking a little bit of time. So that's all I've got for the first development update for Traitor. It does show off more than I intended when I started writing the script, but that's not a bad thing. I'm excited to show off things that are done when they are done, and show you the development with screenshots and animation tests to give you an idea of where this episode is going to end up when it's finished. One thing I regret so much when developing Traitor Prequel is not doing so much behind the scenes. I did a few little ones here and there, and every now and again on Instagram I would show up like an image or something, but I didn't do so many behind the scenes videos on YouTube and showing you the development. Now I'm trying really hard to use my ArtStation as a development portfolio, and all those links are either down in the description or on my YouTube channel on the homepage, but I want to do more with YouTube. I want to do more videos like this, where I explain what I've done, and every single time there's a milestone that I've hit, whether it be what I've done now, which is creating environments, or I've made a trailer, or whether I've made a, I don't know, a new like set of textures, or I've done something quite big that's actually really exciting, is actually worthwhile showing, then that doesn't sort of warrant a trailer, then I can show you in a video format in a development way. Because the problem is with Traitor Prequel, I was learning Unreal Engine at the same time. And the problem with learning something as you develop it is you don't actually know whether what you've got currently is going to be the final iteration. All of what I've shown you today is the final iteration as it currently stands. There are all work in progresses and they all do need to have various things altered and tweaked. But I'm not going to change anything dramatically, which means anything that what you've seen here is going to be completely different for Traitor. Whereas with the previous episode with Traitor Prequel, there are various different parts where I would have done a development update to show you this is what I've worked on, but then I completely had to redo the entire level because it doesn't work properly. And then that entire thing that you've seen in that development update is completely void. And maybe that's the point of the development updates. Maybe it's good to show you that this is what I've made, but I've then had to alter it and completely get rid of it because I didn't like it. So maybe that is actually part of development that I really should be doing. Maybe that is what I should be doing instead of just keeping everything hidden. I don't know. I'll have a think about it and see what I can do. I will be posting a lot more work in progress images on Instagram as I've created a new highlight reel for Traitor 3 on my profile, so you can see the development of it in short story form. And then when it comes to YouTube, to see more detailed work in progress as well as things that won't work with Instagram. And that also goes for ArtStation as well, which like I said will be linked to the description as well as on my YouTube channel's homepage. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video here. I'd like to thank you all very much for watching. If you did enjoy, don't forget to smash the like button and hit the subscribe for more awesome development updates for Traitor. And yeah, I've pretty much said all that I wanted to say. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed the Traitor series just in general, and excites you what I've shown you as much as it excites me making it. Because I just do this because I have a passion for this, and you know, and CL450's journey. I've got such an idea about where I want this to go, and it excites me because I know that with the power of Unreal Engine, they're adding more features day in, day out. And as I'm learning more things that I can do within Unreal, it means that I can do so much more and have things work so much better. So, anyway, hope you guys have enjoyed, and I shall see you all later. Bye!